But sticking on Nintendo train, we also got some Switch 2 leaks of
Mm-hmm.
a 3D model and some spec details. So it looks like it'll be sporting an 18-inch screen. Not 18-inch, 8-inch. 18-inch would be crazy. That
I
would
was
be
like, I was
insane.
gonna say,
That's bigger than like the biggest laptops.
right.
My bad. It's sporting a 8-inch screen, um,
Mm-hmm.
which is rumored to unfortunately not be OLED, which I hope is not true, because then they're just going to do the thing
Mm-hmm.
where later on they release an OLED model, which
They're like,
is
oh, the Switch 2 OLED, and it's like, okay, thanks.
um,
Could have just done this to begin with.
and the leak also perpetuates the idea that the Joy Cons will be connected magnetically, which we've talked about before, and I'm sure you've seen
Mm.
those rumors for the last like year, since I
Mm-hmm.
think it was
Mm-hmm.
like it might have been like a patent that people found from Nintendo because patents are public.
Yeah,
Of like magnetic Joy-Cons. So supposedly that's how the new Joy-Cons will connect, which is interesting. I assume
very
if that's the case, it'll be secure. Because when you think about it, you think that maybe it won't like it'll still like just fall off, but there'll probably be
but
some.
there's some strong
Yeah,
magnets
yeah. I was
out
gonna say
there.
it'll
Yeah.
probably be some pretty strong magnets. But also supposedly it might be a magnetic rail system, so it might still be on a rail, but it
Which
will
I would be okay with.
also use magnets. I think a lot of people's concern
Mm-hmm.
is that there are just so many cool Joy-Con colors that some people bought multiple, and they want to still be able to use their old Joy-Cons on the new one. So,
Makes sense.
hopefully maybe they do create a rail system that can still use old Joy-Cons. But also if the system itself is bigger, that might not be the case. So, who knows?
Yeah, it's gonna be weird.
Um, but the specs are where I'm most interested in. I do like the fact that the screen's bigger, but the specs
Mm.
is what I'm interested in. As a person who mostly plays like PlayStation and Xbox games.
Right.
So this console will supposedly have more RAM than the Xbox Series S, which is the current gen
Wow.
but slightly weaker version of the Series X.
Mm-hmm.
And it will have power on par with the PS4 Pro. Um,
Hmm.
and it will use DLSS image upscaling to make old
Ooh.
games look a little better. So if this is true, this will like be a huge upgrade in performance and graphical fidelity for Nintendo games. And imagine what like future
For
Nintendo
sure.
games are going to look like
Yeah.
with like power and RAM on par with a PS4 Pro and Xbox Series S. That's pretty
Mm-hmm.
powerful for Nintendo specifically. Like they're still going to continue to make stylized game, but I've said it before. Like just because something stylized doesn't mean that they couldn't take advantage of um better
Really
graphics.
powerful graphics.
Like
Because
there's
Astro's Playworld
because I think
comes. Mm-hmm.
I mean kind of I'll let you finish that thought,
Mostly.
but go
Okay.
ahead.
Oh yeah. Like mostly what I'm thinking of is the fact that like it it has the capability to handle the goals that it does.
Yeah,
Like how the bosses, from what I've seen, explode into like all those gems. Like that's cool.
yeah.
That's really cool and a really cool way to like use the power of the PS5 in that stylized way. So
Mm.
I think that Nintendo has the capability to do it, especially like with the Switch 2 coming out. I just don't know if they'll take advantage of it. Knowing
Yeah,
Nintendo.
absolutely. For me, it's also like people think that like more detail doesn't always just mean more realistic detail, and like
Mm-hmm.
you can still add more detail to stylized art styles. And I always
For sure.
use Spider Verse as an example of like imagine a game that looks like Spider Verse. Like you don't get that because like Nintendo's console is just powerful enough to render something that looks like that. But imagine if it could.
Right.
Imagine if they had a console that was powerful enough to make a game that looks like Spider Verse. It's still super stylized and cartoony, but it's just at a level of detail that is just unimaginable. Like it could be real
Mm-hmm.
cool. And like you said, Astro Body is a good example of a 3D platformer on a modern gen console that
Mm-hmm.
has excellent performance and
For
looks really good.
sure.
But yeah, this I'm excited to finally get a Switch eventually.
Yeah.
um, but it's coming out next year. They've all but confirmed it. It's
For
just
sure.
a matter of
Yeah.
when will they announce it.
Yeah.